The second player to bat is always your best contact hitter. The next gal has the best contacts in the realtor world. There is no better RBI hitter than the 2022 National Association of Realtors president, a realtor for 36 years from Plano, Texas. She is a broker associate at Dave Perry Miller Real Estate in Dallas. There she specializes in residential, ranch, and country real estate, along with her husband Brian and their children Kristen and Austin, all of whom are realtors. The Smiths have their own realtor baseball team. At the national level, she has been a member of NAR's board of directors since 2009 and has served several years on the executive committee. In 2013, she served on the NAR leadership team as vice president. In 2017, she was the vice president for Region 10, and she chaired the future of the Realtor Party PAG. It's a wonderful pleasure to have Leslie Roude Smith on our roster of speakers. Welcome, Leslie.
Thank you for that warm welcome, Jeff. I appreciate it. I'm sorry I have a duck flying over my head, but that's just where I ended up today. My husband is obviously a hunter since he sells farm and ranch property. But you know, that old saying about great minds is true. My theme this year is bring it home. And so I'm going for a home run right now. And let's hope we can really bring it home, which is, of course, your theme for your summit, just a little bit different with the baseball theme. But I love it. That's awesome, because that is what we do for our clients. And, you know, we get the joy of helping them find the American dream, which is home. Thank you for inviting me to speak with you on this important topic today. And I know you're coming from 3 different states and from all over, and I appreciate the honor to be with you today. The MLS, as we all know, is very critical to our industry and to our organization. It creates highly competitive and transparent markets that give consumers equal access and market-driven pricing options. In short, the MLS is central to facilitating the roughly $3 trillion housing market with a T. Realtors' listings become the data that powers the MLS and those who rely on its accuracy. And in turn, the MLS makes it possible for buyers to see all the listings on the market and for sellers to have the largest pool of buyers. So I would go so far as to say together, the MLS and realtors make our industry whole and place the consumer in the forefront of the transaction. The MLS, as we all know, is the envy of many others who seek to replicate its success in other countries. In places like London, which they do not have an MLS, sellers lack a single marketplace for all potential buyers to see their listing. A fractured market means buyers are much more likely to miss out on potential properties that they might like to see. In comparison, our MLS promotes pro-consumer, pro-competitive market for home buyers and home sellers. It's a model of efficiency and transparency. And the MLS is so crucial that it's actually baked into NAR's strategic priorities. At NAR, we emphasize the importance of collaboration between MLS and other data providers to ensure the brokerage community can meet consumers' needs and their expectations. After all, meeting consumers' needs, we meet our own. NAR is collaborating with various market participants like RISO, the Council of Multiple Listing Services, or CMLS, technology service providers, appraisers, government entities, and regulators, to look for ways to improve the MLS and to ensure consumers and realtors continue to reap its benefits. We've seen quite a bit of innovation during the pandemic, including features like digital floor plans, fields allowing for multiple videos and content types, including 3D walkthroughs, and increased collaboration among MLSs for shared services. We must continue to keep pace with our consumers as they become more accustomed to and empowered by mobile technology. In addition, we must continue to support programs that promote equal access to and efficient sharing of listing information. Consumers should feel confident that the MLS provides access to a comprehensive slate of listings in their area. At the same time, we should continue to find ways to enhance the ability of every MLS participant and subscriber to efficiently see all of the listing data they need to best serve their customers. And that takes me to the crux of what I'd like to talk about today. NAR's MLS best practices and how they benefit you, the member. You may know that NAR-owned MLSs must adhere to a number of standards that ensure the MLS remains pro-consumer, pro-competitive market for home buyers and sellers. There's also another set of protocols called MLS Best Practices, which has been approved by the NAR MLS Policy and Issues Committee. You can find those at nar.realtor/MLS Best Practices. Implementing these best practices, will help MLSs continue to deliver a high level of service to their participants and to their subscribers. We encourage all MLSs to review and consider these best practices in an effort to best serve their participants and subscribers. The best practices fall into several areas, so let's start with compliance. MLSs should communicate national policy changes and local rules to their members on an annual basis, at a minimum. After all, national MLS issues sometimes become local policy. It's important to understand how those impact you. Similarly, your MLS should consistently engage with the brokerage community so everyone understands what they're part of and to contribute to the MLS ecosystem. This summit is a terrific way and a terrific example of how MLSs can engage. I commend all three MLSs for coming together to host this informative and fun event for their participants. One more point about compliance before I move on. As part of a collaborative and cooperative community, participants and vendors must abide by mandatory MLS policies. If not, MLSs have the power to discipline participants because, quite simply, the system and our consumers must be able to count on accurate and available data. So let's take data by itself. Participants, subscribers, and associations use MLS data to make business decisions, to support our advocacy efforts, and to better understand the market and consumer trends. Additionally, participants use data feeds like IDX on their company sites in service to their consumers. Because of all of this, it is critical that MLS participants and subscribers know what data feeds are available and how to access them. Our MLS best practices urges MLSs to provide that information clearly on their websites. To enable efficient data sharing, we need a shared language. Realtors are the best source of that real estate information, but that data needs to be standardized under the hood so that participants, subscribers, and partners can streamline access to keep the costs down. Any broker with offices in various markets and who has to access several MLSs, each with their own language, knows just how challenging that can be. We encourage MLSs to offer the RESO, Real Estate Standards Organization, access to data. Data standards like RESO allow businesses to collaborate so that everyone in the ecosystem, broker, agent, and consumer, has the same experience. Think of the apps on your smartphone. Each app comes from a different company, but thanks to the magic of communications technology, they are all accessible on your device. For all of us in the MLS community, these standards make data mining and sharing plug and play. Lastly, I want to talk about the best practices of MLS governance. One of the most important things MLSs can do for their constituents is to adopt and annually review their strategic plan, which should cover all the topic areas I've mentioned, as well as diversity, equity, and inclusion. The very nature of the MLS, a cooperative, collaborative, pro-consumer entity, is to promote transparency, efficiency, and ensure greater access for first-time, low-income, and other buyers. In addition, MLSs, like any organization in the Realtor family, do best when they welcome fresh thinking and diverse voices into leadership. Finally, our governance best practices encourage all of those serving on the MLS, directors, committee members, and staff to complete training to ensure they're operating with the highest level of competence, trust, and transparency. MLS officers and directors should sign an agreement that confirms their commitment to their fiduciary duties to the MLS. Another best practice is for associations to consider creating a separate entity for the MLS to more clearly delineate MLS leaders and roles, responsibilities to the MLS. I want to take a moment to give a shout out to the MLS leaders that are here with us today. New Mexico MLS President, Rodney Davis, North Carolina Regional MLS President, Jody Wainio, Colorado Real Estate Network President, Chris Betton, and all of the MLS directors that are here today. Thank you for setting the bar high and taking the MLS best practices to heart. Before I conclude today, let me briefly address NAR's ongoing proceedings concerning the Department of Justice. Last year, NAR reached an agreement with the DOJ to make certain changes that were already in the spirit and the intent of our Code of Ethics and MLS policies. Without going into too much detail, after we'd already started implementing the agreement in an unprecedented move, the DOJ backed out. In response, NAR filed a petition this past September calling on the DOJ to keep its word and to honor our agreement. While the matter is pending, NAR continues to be committed to regularly updating our rules and policies to protect consumers and ensure market transparency. In fact, realtors and NAR work every day in the best interest of America's home buyers and sellers. NAR is hopeful that the court will require the DOJ to honor its agreement with us. But as always, NAR remains committed to defending our independent, local real estate organizations, which provide greater economic opportunity for small businesses and consumers of all income levels. So the MLS system is currently facing challenges. Class action attorneys are spreading misinformation and mischaracterizing our pro-competitive and pro-consumer local broker experiences and marketplaces. What does that mean for you? We need your help to educate consumers, policymakers, and other interested third parties about how the MLS system works, how it promotes equity, transparency, and market-driven pricing options for consumers. And that's why the National Association of Realtors has launched a website, competition.realtor. Competition.realtor empowers you to serve as informed ambassadors with consumers in your community. The site hosts fact sheets, FAQs, articles, infographics, and other information that you can use that explains the current real estate landscape, provides updates on NAR policy changes and legal matters, and illustrates how realtors are consumer champions. The site describes how MLSs create highly competitive markets that promote equity, greater access, choice, and pricing when it comes to real estate services. That way, you can educate consumers about the value of local broker marketplaces and how they create competitive, efficient, pro consumer markets. Let's remind consumers that the MLS provides them with the largest database of available homes, the most up to date home status information, maximized visibility of homes that are for sale, and many more benefits. In a world without the MLS, however, consumers' access to reliable data could be reduced, leaving them with no centralized source for available homes, outdated home status information, the reversal of years of achievement in fair housing, and overall, less competition, meaning fewer choices for consumers in the marketplace. You can find these facts and other compelling evidence about the value of MLS at competition.realtor. So I encourage you to check it out and pass that information on. Supporting local broker marketplaces is in the best interest of our consumers. And that's why NAR and realtors will work every day to ensure buyers and sellers have the greatest access, transparency, and choice. Through independent local broker marketplaces, that levels the playing field for all types and sizes of brokerages and ultimately gives consumers the greatest choice when it comes to real estate. Now more than ever, it's crucial that the MLS is well positioned to respond to member and consumer demand. And together, I know we can bring it home for our subscribers, participants, clients, and communities in 2022. Thank you for the honor of sharing with all of you today.
Thank you so much, Leslie, for being a part of our program today. That was some great information, and I'd like to prompt everybody to please go to competition.realtor, please. Thank you so much, and have
Appreciate
a
it.
great busy day.
Thank you.